Hey YouTubers, welcome back. This is Tony FL, and today we're going to do a little dedicated video to buck grill. And we got a Notos on the table, and we have some accessories that Buck Grill has donated to our channel. And we got a Magpul grip, a Magpul buttstock, the buffer tube for this buttstock, and the infamous Buck Grill AR lower chassis. So we're going to take this thing apart here. This is the Umerex Notos, like I said prior, and we're going to give this a little AR-15 transformation. Buck Grill has all these accessories on their website, so guys, just Google search Buck Grill, and they got plenty of accessories for all different type of air guns, and you might find what you're looking for there. I'm sure they got plenty accessories that can help you guys do a little mods on your guns. So without further ado, I want to also thank you guys for watching my channel, subscribing, and showing me some love and support. That's very highly appreciated of you guys, and just continue to watch me. It's been a while that I haven't came out and done some videos, but I'm here, and we're going to take care of business. Buck Grill is the system that we're going to do to this new Umerex Notos. Stay tuned. So we got this Notos apart. We took the buttstock and the grip accessories off, and this portion here, their lower chassis. So now what we got to do is we're going to unbolt these screws here, so that we may remove the trigger assembly, because this portion here needs to be transferred to the Buck Grill system, the Buck Grill chassis. Once we get that transferred here, then we can reassemble this and assemble all the other accessories onto the AR chassis, the Buck Grill AR chassis, which is going to eliminate this whole piece here. So, without further ado, let me get this thing going. We're going to remove these screws here from that plate. They're kind of loose. So put these 4 screws off to the side. Now we're going to lift this plate up. Okay, your seat is going to pop out. Okay, now this goes this way. This goes upward like that. That little hole that you see there, that's where the spring sits. Okay. You can set this pin off to the side because they supplied you with new pins here, and this is not going to work. So we can set this all off to the side. Okay. Now we just have to pull up your trigger, and they have a pin for that as well. Okay, so guys, as you can see, I got the pin for the trigger already preset, and we're gonna have to grab that trigger and slide it in through the trigger hole on the chassis. Once you do that, you gotta align your hole. You're going to have to align that little hole there with this pin. Okay guys, as you can see, I got the trigger installed. The pin is pushed in all the way, sitting flush up against the chassis, and it's just free floating right now. Now I got preset the sear pin, and that's going to go right through that hole, and we got to align this hole here. Remember that little hole right there is where the spring sits, and you want to keep that facing upward. Okay, so let me get this thing lined up and installed, and like I said, it's going to go in this way. And once we have that in, we can install the chassis onto the Notos. Okay, as you can see, we partially got the pin in there. The sear is installed. We're just going to push this pin further in and have it sit flush. Once we finish this, we can install the buffer tube, the stock, and the grip, and then we can install this onto the Notos. Okay guys, now that we're ready, we got the pins sitting completely flush. Our sear's installed, and we're ready to rock and roll. Now we're going to install the buffer tube and the buttstock to the AR-15 buck rail chassis, and we'll be done with that, and we can put it back on the gun, and I'll show you the final conclusions. Alright guys, so we're back, and as you can see, we installed the buffer tube onto the buttstock, and we installed the castle nut so that we can lock the buffer tube tight up against the buck rail chassis. Now to install this buffer tube on here, you need to pull this pin on both sides down all the way so this can slide in past the locking pins. Then you install your castle nut all the way to the back and thread this onto the buck rail chassis, and you're done. They supply you with a locking nut that goes up in this hole here, as you can see, which is a secondary lock alongside this castle nut. So when you do that, and that's this one here, that's this nut right here. So when you install this, just make sure that your rail is aligned. Your buttstock and your buck rail are aligned, so that way they don't look like this when you install it. Okay, so let me get this thing tightened up, and we'll take it to the next step on installing it to the Umerex Notos. I gotta make a correction, guys. That is not the nut. I made a mistake. This nut is not it. It's that grub screw. That's the grub screw that's gonna lock that onto your buffer tube, which is gonna keep it steady and firm. So don't make the mistake I just did. That's not the nut that goes there. Okay. All right. So let me tighten this up, and we'll continue installation. Okay guys, now we're going to continue with the installation of the grip. So we're going to remove that nut and install the grip here. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, we just removed the nut from the chassis over here. Now this little square nut goes in that square hole there. Make sure that you put that in there when you attach your grip to the buck rail chassis. Now as you can see, I installed the nut that I removed from the buck rail chassis into the grip just to give me a lineup point to line this up to the square nut there. So bear with me guys, and let me get this thing installed. Okay guys, as you can see, we got our buttstock installed, our buffer tube, our castle nut, our grip, and the AR chassis is complete. Now let's get this thing installed on the Notos. So guys, as you can see, I've already done some mods ahead of the game on this thing by removing the moderator. I installed a Tremor Tactic plenum and this regulator. Now that's a 580, I believe, bottle. That came off of one of my FX air guns. I had an extra bottle. This is just trial and error. I want to see the weight of the gun, and I'm going to get a lot of shots with that. I had a smaller bottle to put on here, but I want to see how the weight difference is. But right now, this is what we're going to focus on. That little spring, we have to install it in that hole. So that's the sear. Now this little hole here, we have to sit that spring in that little hole. So bear with me, guys, while I align this and set this on there. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've done already installed a few extra mods on this, but this video is not about that. This is all about the buck rail system. So right now we're going to install that little spring in that little hole up there, as you can see. Now that spring has to sit in this hole here. So we're going to set this on there and hopefully not lose the spring. Alright guys, bear with me. Okay guys, I took it too far. I missed a step. So what we're going to do is, there's a screw that goes back here that holds the chassis up against the upper, the Notos upper. So I got to take this buttstock off with the buffer tube and the castle nut, because I got to slide a screw that goes in through here. My apologies guys. Bear with me. We'll be back. Okay, so now that we got that screw installed, I want you to take a look in there. That's that top screw above the hammer spring adjuster. And that's installed properly. Now we can take this buttstock and thread it back on. If I could do this with one hand, it would be great. Now this is a nice build. Buckra has great accessories and they're extremely well made. And it gives your Umerex Notos a great transformation, AR platform look. I mean, this gun is completely transformed now. I mean, I don't think there's anything else that I can do to it. So here we're going to have to back this out and get this thing aligned. Make sure that my butt stock is aligned to my grip, and that looks good there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to lock this nut here, this grub screw here, lock it down. Let me see here, is this the right one? You want to lock this grub screw down so that that buffer tube doesn't spin on you. Oops, dropped my Allen. Just give it a good snug, don't go crazy. Just to keep it locked in. Now you can tighten your castle nut. And that should be it. Let me get the tools to tighten that castle nut up and we should be done. Okay guys, so this is called the C-span wrench. And this is what you would use to tighten up this castle nut. So you're going to come up here, place that pin in there, and just gently bring it down and tighten it. This has been already tightened up, so bear with me. Okay, so here's the finished product. Let me turn this gun upside down so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here we are, gentlemen. The Umerex Notos transformation. So we got the buck rail system installed, and the gun looks amazing. Amazing. So guys, thank you for watching. This is Tony FL. Alright guys, so there it is. Umerex Notos bills with the buck rail accessories. Now, I'm ecstatic the way this thing looks. It's a complete different transformation. We added as well a power plenum here, which is an 11cc power plenum. We got the buck rail accessories installed. This is a 580 FX bottle. This is a Donnie FL Shogun. This is a Discovery Optics 4x16 and maple leaf or maple mags. And this thing here is shooting 18 grain tremor slugs at 881. Guys, thanks for watching. This is Tony FL. Now, please, if you're interested in these buck rail products, just Google search buck rail. Go on their website. They have tons of different accessories that you might be interested in. That if you're looking to do some nice mods to your air guns, check buck rail out. Buck rail's the place to go. This is Tony FL, and thanks for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because I'll be back with more videos.